when people want to be successful, they say you need to be obsessed with things, and I think that's absolutely true. Anything that is worth fighting for, you need to be obsessed about.
Welcome back to The Burn. Now, you guys are looking at a different setting for The Burn. We are actually here. We just got done filming Bussin' with the Boys. We got my guy, Will Compton. You know him from episode 2. We got Taylor Lewan. Now, I'm just excited that Taylor actually sit on set with me. He didn't kick me off his show because I went to Michigan State. No, don't get started yet. Don't get started yet.
You're right.
So this show is all about The Burn, and you know, we could talk about 3 Pro Bowls, we could talk about his first round draft status, all these things that are so significant. That's not what The Burn is about. The Burn is about that underlying fire that lies inside of somebody. When you get the doubters, when you get the haters, when you get the people who say, man, you can't do this. Mm-hmm. You know, the stories that you've shared about, man, my first year, they were calling for my head, and you fought through it, which has led to your wife, led to your daughter, all these things. I want to know from you, what is that fire? What is it that you turn to? What is it that you think about on those days, man, where those doubters are coming at you, the haters are coming at you, and you know you got to pull it together for yourself and for your teammates?
Yeah, I think when I think about the Burn, it's not just one thing. I think that truly motivates me. I think there's a lot of surrounding factors there, but the biggest thing that really comes to my head, my first initial reaction is always my family. I got the best wife in the entire world. I got the best little girl, the Bean. She's the best. And anytime I have haters, it's really important for people to know. First off, if you have haters, then you're obviously doing something right. All right, because
no doubt,
no one's ever gonna tweet at somebody that they don't give a shit about, right? So it's important. That's always a compliment, whether they're saying mean things about you or nice things about you. That at least they're talking about you. So that's always a good thing. But my burn is definitely my family and how they've always had my back. And I talk about all the time. My wife, you know, the minute I met her, I made 3 Pro Bowls in a row, and she motivates me every single day to be a great person, and she challenges me so much to do my self-work, to work on myself, and every day be, you know, more spiritually sound and stronger for those, you know, whether it's for my family or for football or any of those things. So the burn runs deep, man. It runs really deep, and there's a lot of other things, but the main thing is definitely my family.
So in doing our episode of Bussin' with the Boys, mm-hmm. You mentioned something, and you hit me with some stuff, the reading, the deepness, the motivational stuff that, man, it showed me a whole different side that I thought was absolutely awesome about you. But you gave the analogy of the garden. Yeah. And, you know, you think about the little things. You meet your wife, you go make 3 Pro Bowls, but she shook you up a little bit, getting you to think differently. So tell us about that garden.
Well, I think when people want to be successful, they say you need to be obsessed with things, and I think that's absolutely true. Anything that is worth fighting for, you need to be obsessed about. But it's also about being obsessed from a more diverse standpoint. So it's not just focusing. I need to focus so much on being successful in football. I need to make sure my weights are here. I can lift this. I can run this far. It's also, you know, being obsessed about being a good person, being a good father, being a good husband, and being a good friend. And the more you water all those plants, we talk about the garden, you water all these plants, and if you exclude one, well, that dying plant's going to hurt the rest of those plants in your garden. So it's important to make sure you stay on those checks and balances of making sure that, you know, everything's being watered and taken care of in every part of your life. Because if your social life or your family life is not going well, a lot of times that's going to pull a lot from the thing that you want to be successful in, like football, which is so easy to kind of see and grasp at. But the more you water those things, the better it's always going to be, for sure.
So I know hearing you talk about family, talking about your daughter, talking about working hard, being obsessed, but also teamwork is important to you, and relationships. And so a lot of people hear this for the boys, but what I think about was that point in the season when we started seeing this on social media. Yeah. Right? I mean, the reason why we're bussing with the boys right now, and I appreciated you guys having me on, and now we're doing this. The reason why is because the two of you decided, man, we got to have something that gets this team to dig a little bit deeper, and that's a little bit of a burn, right? That's almost like a team burn. Yeah. So I want to hear from the two of you guys. Right, what does this for the boys mean to you guys? Because I know relationships is important, and it's a little deeper than just a saying.
Well, I know at the beginning, of it, it really wasn't anything other than we'd walk into the hot tub before practice, getting all warmed up, everything. And we just say the boys, and people, slowly but surely would start, call recall kind of stuff. We would say something, they'd say it back, and it just kind of started snowballing. We went on a little bit of a run in the early middle of the season, and people really started buying into the boys. So I think now what it's really turned into is it's kind of like a culture. Like you're for the boys, you're either with us or you're against us. And it's not a team thing. It's everybody who's involved. Anybody who wants to say for the boys, like it's kind of having a group, having something you can bond with and kind of admire and work with, and it's a cool little entity.
Yeah, I would think that, like we were talking about earlier, you don't necessarily know like what you're doing when you're doing it. Like we were just kind of obnoxiously yelling the boys, like for the boys, like, hey, we're going to get through this training camp day for the boys. Like, hey, we're doing it for the boys, this, that, the other. We're yelling it during games, before games, after games, and it starts to catch on and catch a little heat. And it's kind of like, yo, this is pretty dope that everybody's like yelling for the boys. Like they're for the boys. You're either for them or against them, like he was saying. And, again, you don't quite know what you're doing when you're doing it, but now that it's kind of became this culture, this kind of identity with just being like, yo, we're for the fucking boy, or this is your show. I apologize for cursing.
No, you can curse.
For the boys,
you.
It's just really cool. It's just really cool to see, because again, it's like, yeah, I guess we started yelling it, but knowing that everybody was buying in and like having fun with it, that's kind of when you get the result from it that you do. Because it's not like we could yell it all day, but if nobody does it because we're some pricks, like knowing that the team bought in with it and then everybody else is on board with it, that's where you kind of roll with it, get that momentum, and kind of create a culture other than just yelling the boys all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know how much I appreciate you, brother, and this is the
yes, please don't talk about it again.
But this is about the third or fourth time we've had the opportunity to meet, but the first time I've really been able to get inside and understand, your head and the heart and the fire that lies inside of you. And I know your best chapters are yet to come, but man, seeing your eyes change when you talk about your daughter, and go this season, make it different. Go beat down that door of your legacy. Keep doing it one day at a time. And thanks for sharing the burn with our listeners. And for everybody, you got to go check out Bussin' with the Boys. I mean, the Vrabel episode, the Froning episode, the Delaney Walker episode. Man, you guys go check it out, because it is one of the hottest podcasts going right now. Make sure to go check out the boys.